guys, Stewart here from Chaos Cards, and today I'm going to give you a little demo of a new game called Lords of War. It is a really new game from Black Box Games. At Chaos Cards we don't just sell TCGs like Pokemon, Magic, etc. And Yu-Gi-Oh! We sell board games and miniatures games, things like Boss Monster and Netrunner, Ascension, Star Wars X-Wing. We sell a lot of different tabletop games, whether it be cardboard, card games, board games, or miniatures. But I thought I'd give you a quick look at Lords of War. This is just going to be a brief demo, just to show you what this looks like. It's won some awards, actually, which is kind of cool. If you just have a look at this one here. In the bottom corner, if I can get my camera to focus on it, there we go, the UK Games Expo Awards in 2013. Last year this won an award for one of the best new games. It's a dual deck expandable gaming sort of thing, if that makes any sense. It says there, dual deck expandable gaming cards. So this is the three flavors, if you like. We've got Elves versus Lizardmen, we've got Templars versus Undead, and we've got Orcs versus Dwarves. Classic fantasy matchups. The Templars versus the Undead is the newer one, and these two were made around the same time. So, what is the game? Try and think of something along the lines of a trading card game like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Mixed with chess. That's the best way I can explain it. I will show you a quick game, a quick demo of how it works. I'm not going to play a full game because I'm only one person and I can't play against myself, really. So what I've done, I've taken this one and taken the stuff out of it. But before I show you all that, let me just give you a quick look at what you actually get in the boxes. So this is the box here. This is enough for 2 players to start playing the game immediately. It says at the top the age group is 12 plus. This is for 2 players plus. I believe there is rules for 4 player and things like that. The playing time is around 30 to 45 minutes depending on your skill level. This third box was actually backed on Kickstarter and made possible through Kickstarter, the third expansion. The other 2 were just normal, but this was a Kickstarter one. Have a look at the back. You can see how some of the cards look. Again, classic fantasy artwork, as you can see there. Sort of more like paintings than computer edited work, but it looks really nice. If you want to read the back, you can pause it and have a look. You can see there 72 illustrated game cards, gameplay battle mat, comprehensive rules and instructions. So this box will allow 2 people to play because the mat, which is sitting down here, is actually a 2-player mat. You don't need 1 mat each, you have 1 mat for both players, and this contains 2 decks, Templars and Undead. So let's have a quick look and see what we've got. Although, one thing I will just quickly say is that this paper playmat is okay to learn on, but what you really want to do, this is really cool, I'll show you this. Get rid of this. Down here I have the official proper rubber backed. This is the proper playmat, you know, like the ones they use for tournaments for Magic and for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is a proper rubber playmat with a printed surface, and I'll show you what it looks like now. That is the Undead guy, as you can see. Black Box Games in the corner, Lords of War in that corner. And as I go up a little bit, you can see that the artwork on it is fantastic. And it is a 2-player game mat, so it's really nice. You can see that you've got the number 1 there for player 1, and you've got the number 2 there for player 2. So that is the game mat that I'm going to be teaching you the game on. I say teaching the game, I'm just going to give you a brief glimpse of it. So, let's have a look at the cards. This is the back, nothing special. These are very oddly sized. If I had a card around here to compare it to, I would show you, but I don't actually have anything lying around that I can compare it to, but it's definitely smaller than both Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic is standard size and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is smaller, but this is smaller than both of those, so I'm not sure what sleeves would fit this. I think maybe KMC would fit this, but generally for this game you probably won't need sleeves anyway. The card stock is good, it's a nice quality, it feels quite glossy, quite nice. It doesn't feel cheap, which is nice. So let's have a look at the fronts. This is the guy that's on the playmat underneath. This is Azul, the Bygone King. He looks really cool, and just showing you some of the artwork here. It's really nice. As I said, classic fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, kind of Tolkien maybe kind of looking, that sort of stuff. Really nice artwork, and it can only improve in the future, I would have thought. And it's already really good. So let me get into the anatomy of the card. So each card has a life value, indicated by the number in the shield. That is like their HP, their health, whatever you want to call it, their life, their whatever you want to call it. They have a symbol here which tells you what kind of character they are in the deck. The decks have a certain amount of these types and have to be abided by. You can't just take out all of one type and put in another. If you take out, let's say, an elite warrior, you have to put an elite warrior back. So that's the way it works. And you can mix and match decks, funnily enough. You can mix in different cards, so you can have a Templar / Undead deck if you wanted to, as long as you stick to the rules of the deck building, which is included in the rules sheet, I believe. So this symbol here, this means that he is the general. He is the leader of this deck. You got this symbol here, like a plus symbol with 4 little dots. He is an elite. Well, not an elite, but a commander, sorry, I should say, because elite is a separate type. He is a commander, and you generally have 4 unique ones of these, so there won't be another one of this in the deck, but there will be another guy that looks different, like a named character kind of thing. This guy here has a bow. He is a support character. You can see here where he can hit and how much damage he can do at range on the board. Support characters can also be played next to your own characters, which may not make too much sense now, but when you actually look at the game later, support characters are very important. This is cavalry. Cavalry allows you to replay the card. Generally, when you play a card in this game, you don't get to move it or pick it back up. Cavalry, if it survives, which is why it's got such low health, if they survive, you're allowed to pick them back up and redeploy them somewhere else if you choose. But in doing so, you forfeit your draw of a card. So there's some thought to be had there. And this is a spear guy. Spear guys are support characters, the same as bowmen, but obviously don't have ranged attacks, but they can be placed next to friendly units. Generally, all cards you play have to go next to enemy units. However, in this, with support cards like bowmen and spearmen, they can go next to your own guys. Also, you may notice that the arrows on here at the sides look different to the arrows on this guy. The reason is these ones that kind of have this like red blur mean that they can move in that direction, whereas other cards like this one cannot move after it's been placed. So there you go. Now, the way the game runs is this is the defense of a card, or the life I should say of the card. That's how many hit points the card has, and these arrows indicate how much damage you do in that direction, if that makes any sense at all. So this guy is doing, I know that looks like a 5, but it is not, it is a 3. This guy does 3 damage to his right, 4 damage to his upper right, and 4 damage to his lower right. He does nothing at the top or on this side of him. So he is totally vulnerable on this side, but this side, he's pretty strong. So that's how that works essentially. With bowmen, if they get into close range combat, they use these arrows here. But if they're away from an enemy and not engaged in a close combat, you can use this grid and look, find the grid on the board that you're playing on, and he can do 3 damage to any one character that he picks within that grid. Same goes for the rest of them, arrows pointing in the directions that they do damage in, essentially. There's also one other type that isn't present in this undead deck, which I do have one of here from the Templars. Here, this is from the Templar deck. This is a Sanctifier. This skull here means that they are a Berserker. Berserkers are incredibly powerful, but incredibly weak as well. They generally have really low health, but what they do, if they kill a unit, they must move into the space that the enemy occupied. But in doing so, you could potentially go around the board, sort of like checkers, when you jump enemies and take them. Same idea, this could be placed on the board above a card and it could kill it and move into its space and put it then next to another guy that it can kill and move into that guy's space. But as I said, the movement is not optional. Once you've killed it, you must move to the space. So that can get you into trouble because you could kill a card, move into a space and then get killed because you have no choice. So you have to think carefully about where you deploy this. So, really simple gameplay technique, the way it works. Essentially, at the start of the game, both players shuffle the deck, they take out their general, so you split the general from the deck, like that, and then you shuffle your deck. In fact, I will do it. So you shuffle your deck, this is my undead, guys, you shuffle it, just like I just did, and then you draw, I believe, 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you put your deck somewhere off the board, somewhere easy to reach, so let's just stick it over there for now. So I've got my 5 card hand, and then I add my general to it. So you start with your general, which is kind of cool, but you probably don't want to let him die, because he's probably one of the best characters you've got, so you don't want to let him die really. So you start with 5, your opponent does exactly the same. Both players pick a unit from their hand to start with, and on the board, if I lean it forward, you can see there's a 2 there, and where is it? There, there's a 1 there. Player 1 puts their choice there, player 2 puts their choice there, and you play them. If I can show you this, I don't want to tip the camera over, you see. So let's just say my opponent has, let's pick something weak. They pick this guy and they place him that way. My opponent would be sitting directly that way, facing this way. So you sit at the long end of the board. You don't sit the way I am now. It's just my table's not long enough to show it that way, so I've got it long ways. You sit generally long ways, so on can't do it, those 2 sides that way. So let me just pick a guy. I'm just going to pick this spearman just for the hell of it. We'll place him down on my number 1 spot. And so from there, obviously, you've got 5 cards in each player's hand. Now I'm going to go first just to show you how you do it. So let's have a look at the board. I've placed my guy on the number 1, and they've placed their guy on the number 2. So I now look at my hand and think, what should I place? What could I use that's quite strong? I look at my enemy there and look at his health, and I notice that he's got 3. If you look down in that lower corner, he's got 3 life. So I want to kill him. So I look for something that does 3 damage. And the only thing I've currently got that actually does 3 damage is my king, my leader. I don't really want to use that. So what I'm going to do is use a ranged guy. So because he is a support character, which is either a bow or a spear, they can be placed next to friendly units. Normally, everything else must go next to an enemy unit. So either this side of him, that side of him, above, below, or diagonally, it must go around him in some way and must fight him, basically. But spears and bows are allowed to be placed next to friendly units. And obviously friendly units can't hurt each other, so don't worry about that. So what I'm going to do, let's turn this that way slightly. This is my friendly unit. Also, you might notice that the cards are upside down, but obviously to the players they're not. You don't place your cards the same way up. So my opponent places them that way up, and mine go this way up, just so you know. So next to my friendly unit, I know that I can hit in a grid in front of my character, which this kind of does irritate me a bit, because the number 3 here is in an arrow pointing downwards, which kind of makes you think he attacks like this way, but he doesn't. He attacks that way. You got to look at the flat line there. Imagine he, the character, is standing where that number is, so he's hitting that way. He's hitting that way. So as a friendly unit, I am going to place him diagonally with my friendly unit there. Now, because I'm not placing any more cards, you then go into the part where you do the battles. All battles are simultaneous. They all happen at the same time, if I can speak properly. You check all the battles and then you take the cards off. So my guy here has a grid in front of him, which is basically a 3x3 grid. So he can hit these 3, and these 3 here. which I'm going to do. So you check it, he can hit that. How much damage do? I do 3 damage because inside the ranged attack grid you can see a number 3, and then you check his defense, which is also 3, meaning that there is a kill. So I'll wait for my camera to focus quickly. There we go. And that means he's dead. Now he goes into a pile next to my deck to show that I've won him. Once I've killed 20 of my enemy's cards, just like I did there, that's how you win. Or if you kill 4 of their commanders. Commanders are the hero, the leader of the deck, and where's he gone? Let me just find one. And the ones with this, the unique characters with this symbol, they are the commanders. So if you kill 4 of them, there's 5 in total because you have the leader and 4 unique guys. If your opponent manages to kill 4 of those, then they also win. So it's whichever comes first, 20 of any character or 4 commanders. So that's basically how it works. I'll just show you one more turn on the other guy. So after I killed the enemy, I placed him over this side next to my deck to show that I've killed one of his characters. Then the end of the turn is called the reinforcement phase. So I now have 4 cards in my hand. I have to draw cards until I'm up to 6. So let me just turn my deck back over. There we go. 1 and 2. So I'm back up to 6, and it's my opponent's turn. So let me pick up their deck and make sure I draw their hand. 6. I'm pretty sure I don't have their leader in this. Oh no, I do. There he is. There is the Templars general. So I've got my 6 cards. Although they did play one down, didn't they? So let me get rid of one. They played one because I've killed it already. So at this point I would have 5 cards. So what have they got? They've got a skeleton here that's got 3 life, and they've got a zombie here that's got 3 life. So I'm looking for something that's got a decent... I mean, see, this one here has 9 health, but it's got very weak attack. So I'm going to simply use this guy. This is a commander. He is quite strong. He's got 3, 3, 3 and 3 all around him, plus 7 health, so he's pretty strong. He's a unique, so if my opponent kills him, I'm one step closer to losing, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to show you how he works this way. So this guy is not a support character because he does not have a spear or a bow, so he has to go next to an enemy. So what enemy is easiest? Probably this skeleton at the back. This skeleton at the back has 3 health, and if you notice, he has no arrows all around the bottom of his card. He only has them at the top, because mainly he's a ranged character. So let's put him back, and this guy is going to go here. Now, to show you that, I'm just going to put that up here. Let me see if my camera will focus on it. As you can see there, he has actually killed both characters. So the card has been placed. Now you check the battles. Is there any arrows going towards him from any of these characters? No. There's a diagonal going up this way towards his friend, but there's nothing actually going towards this guy. So you notice he's got 3 here going this way to this card. He's only got 3 health, so he's dead. He loses that one. And that goes next to that player's deck to show that he's killed it. And then you look again at the arrows. There's no arrows going towards him from this card, but there is a 3 going towards this zombie. So again, he's only got 3, so he's dead. So that character just killed 2 cards in one placement. And at the end of their turn, they've got 4 cards, so they draw 2 to put them back up to 6. And then it would be the undead player's turn. And that is how it works. It's as simple as that, but it's really, really, really addictive. It's very fun, especially when you get people playing it, in big groups, and just generally having a laugh with it and having fun. It's a very simple game. It's a very cheap game to buy as well. It doesn't cost very much. There is expansions planned for it, and yeah, it's a really fun game. I would definitely say that you should give it a go. We are actually running demos at different shops around the Kent area in the UK, so if you're around this area and you want to see this, please let us know. But yeah, very fun game. And I will just quickly take you to the website, just so I can show you. As you can see here, this is the website, Chaos Cards. You can see there you've got all three of the decks that I've showed, $12.95 each, and that's for 2 players to play the entire game. There's a tin there to keep your decks in if you like, and there's also the amazing playmat, which is only £10, which is amazing for this playmat. It really is good. So you could pay, let's say, one deck and one of those mats, £22, and then you and a friend can play as much as you like. So I hope this has been informative. I really enjoyed making this video, and I really enjoy playing this game. So if you guys want it, head on over to www.chaoscards.co.uk and order some today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe for more, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Thank you.